Welcome to P Guru's channel. I am your host Sri Iyer. I am here with Professor R. Vaidyanathan of IIM Bangalore. Professor, in the recent past, you have taken up another responsibility with Sastra University. Would you like to talk to the viewers a little bit about what you are doing at Sastra?
Yeah, it's actually, see, I have retired from IIM Bangalore. There was Cho Ramaswamy. I think most people in Tamil Nadu will know him, as well as from other parts of the country. He was a editor of a popular magazine, Tuklak. But more than that, he was a lawyer, he was a thinker, and he was a, he was also a film personality, actor. He had a multiple roles, but he was considered as one of those who had a very sharp and agile thinking about the issues of contemporary issues. And even he was one of those who earlier recognized, much earlier, the potential of Modi
as a
Prime Minister.
Prime Ministerial candidate.
Anyhow, so he passed away very recently, and actually it was the next day after the passing away of
December 6th of 2016.
Jayalalitha.
Yeah.
And because many people consider him to be a mentor for Jayalalitha. Anyhow, so in his name, the Sastra University created a chair in the issue of public policy, economics, and other areas. So they requested me whether I would like to occupy that. Of course, I will be at Bangalore only. My chair is at Bangalore, very firmly rooted. And I am called as a visiting chair professor for Cho Ramaswamy, public policy chair at Sastra University. Primarily writing reports on themes of interest. More important is guiding some doctoral student, as well as participating in some training program, or it's a sort of open-ended. That would be the nature of my task with them. Yeah.
So continuing on the topic of the possible Frexit, so there is this wave of nationalism that is riding in the world, with Trump coming to power in United States, and Marie Le Pen is challenging the presidential election in France. Now, where do you see this play out for Europe? I know we have been talking about Europe actually becoming something called as Eurobia because of the various reasons. But do you see that process accelerating now with all these events such as Brexit and?
Yes. You see, something like the report suggests that 10,000 people are waiting outside Europe to enter Europe every day. It's a huge influx.
So what happens to today's 10,000? Are they able to get in or
no, they are not. I see many of them, for instance, in Italy shores, you may be reading regularly.
People
so many
drown,
people
ships,
die.
yeah, right.
They die actually. Many of them are brought in ships. This is another huge racket going on. Each of them have paid some money. To the so-called, this human smuggling is very lucrative now. And they have been tempted, if you are dropped in Italy, you can manage. You go around. And even in Italy, there is a huge amount of what you may loosely call illegal immigrant. And for instance, Parmalat, one of the largest dairy farms in Europe, you may be surprised, 90% of them are non-Italians.
I see.
Who are working there, and substantial number Indians also.
I see.
The Sardars and other thing. So the point is, there is a huge influx taking place into Europe. And estimates suggest 1 million are waiting. I think it was maybe I do not know what is the underlying reason. The Merkel's original understanding with EU to facilitate this. One group of experts say it might be to offset what you may loosely call the reproductive issues in Europe.
Right.
Europe demographically is declining.
Right.
So she might have thought having these people may be helpful, in terms of numbers. And they are also useful perhaps in brown collar work, like removing garbage, cleaning streets, and restaurant and all these things. And of course, you see, very interesting. Of course, this is something interesting. In 2001, that time, there was a move to encourage Indians to go into Germany. There was a green card was also suggested
I see.
by that time Chancellor. Now, that time, this Joseph Strauss in Bavaria, who was Christian Democratic Union, several others, they made a big issue out of it in the election. They told Inder, Vitar, Kinder, and our children should get a preference to Indians. All that slogans and other things. This is, of course, one can look at it. This is what karma is. That move was dropped. So when highly reasonably educated and proficient Indian were not to be allowed, getting all these others. 40% of these migrants are coming today are actually not from Syria or Yemen. They are Pakistan and Afghanistan. And even other countries, you find most of them are males, single males. And some of them with beard and mustache and other thing. But they are called children. I never understand. Normally, my understanding of children is they don't have beard or mustache. Anyhow. So this is what they have.
Is there a technicality that you will be automatically given asylum if you are like less than 18 years of age or something?
Yeah, no, there is not only a technicality. Unfortunately, most of them have to be provided as per the social welfare norms of these countries.
I see.
That is the major crisis for these countries. See, if you go to Sweden or if you are in Norway, what the normal Swedish and Norwegian poorer people and get, the refugees are also eligible.
I see.
Some good medical facilities and so many complications. They are taught also languages. They are supposed to be. It's not going to be a very easy task to assimilating is. And one side, Merkel also agrees this multiculturalism has not worked. It's not.
But it is sort of like bolting the farm after the horses.
Not one horse. Multiple horses have already gone out. See, all over Europe, you find so many bushfires have already started.
Right.
See, it's very, very unfortunate, but the culturally, it is not very congruent. So the whole attitude of many of these people who are going from Yemen or Algeria, they are all actually originally, you may argue, French was a colony.
Right.
They had but France being a colonizer is different than France getting colonized. So French are not happy about that. Suddenly when you find that other is most important is forecast suggest if these people have some 3-4 children, in another 15-20 years they will be a dominant group actually.
Correct.
Already in Britain, the largest number of births last year were of Islamic type.
I see.
And they also say that is the most popular name is Muhammad. That is the name which has been used. So there is because most of the English or British, the French or German, they're with the 2-child or 3-child norm. Even the hardcore Catholics actually. So what has happened is Europe has become irreligious. They are not going to church.
Correct.
Most of them. Churches have become tourist spot.
Right.
You go to Europe today, when you get into a tourist bus, first stop will be a church. And they will show you stained glass and this and that. The point is they are becoming irreligious. They are modern. And many of these people from these countries having Islamic belief, they cannot accept the quote-unquote modernity. That is the big issue. Modernity in terms of premarital sex, homosexuality, contraception, so many things they are not going to accept. So there is a tension which is building up for quite some time. Now because of this refugee issue, it has got accentuated. That is one side of the picture. Second is, I think the EU project itself was funny. They wanted to have this understanding in terms of what you call a fiscal union, monetary union, but not a fiscal union. They created this EU, a currency and other.
It's hard enough to have both together and controlling them.
No, but one of them, other one, they told 3% can be the fiscal deficit of the GDP and 60% debt. And countries like Greece, Italy for a long time were fudging their numbers. Now it has come out. EU also, European Bank itself says those numbers are under level. They were having 6%, 7% deficit, but showing it as 3%. And the whole, you see, it is very difficult to have monetary union without a fiscal union, fiscal understanding. It's like in India, for instance, as an example, we have a currency, single currency. But individual states can have any amount of deficit, any amount of interest rate and other things.
Right.
Won't work at all. That is what they attempted and they have not succeeded. Now, countries like Austria, Hungary, they are all very upset. And in the midst of all this, Turkey is an applicant to EU.
Right.
Turkey wants to enter into EU.
Right.
They will not be allowed at all by Austria or anybody because they don't want to have a huge Islamic country in the midst of
Because
EU.
the borders open up. You can travel within the EU.
EU and also, somehow the EU becomes slowly a Islamic thing.
Right.
That already, as many people are talking about Eurobia, it will become. So Turkey is very angry about it, that they are not. Now Turkey is having its own election turbulence, and many Turkish people are arguing that we should, you won't believe, we should occupy Europe.
I see.
Enough of it.
You have to.
They have a large number, and they go back to the old system of Byzantine Empire and all those, Turkestan, Turkmenistan, and other things. Can you know, Turkeys were one of the worst type of original invaders all over the world.
Caliphate.
See, Caliphate, and also our own Nalanda University was burnt by, the original Khilji was a Turk. Actually, and that library was 3 months burning after he burnt it. So Turks were one of the worst invaders of the olden time. After that came Mongols, after that came various, and they were also very hardcore. And Turks they are called. In sometime in southern Indian languages, even today, Tuluks are used actually. Tulukan it's called. Tuluk come from the word Turk actually. They are supposed to be the toughest. Just like among the colonizing people, Belgium was the worst colonizer.
I see.
Followed by Portuguese, and then Spanish, then French and English. That way, English were relatively, if you may loosely call, a liberal colonizers.
India has much to be thankful
for. No, because this Portugal and Belgium and other things were cruel actually. The number of people in Goa itself, Portugal has burnt, is unbelievable actually. And to that extent, this witchcraft burning and all these things were not so popular in Britain. And because of the Anglican Church, one thing, and so many scientific, discoveries and other things came out of British situation. Anyhow, the point is, the Turkish are now angry with both France, Germany, as well as Netherlands, because their leaders are not allowed to campaign for the election which is taking place because of the number of Turks are located in these countries.
I see.
See, in the 50s, Germany went to countries like Iraq, Turkey and other things, and with band and music, and invited them to come to Germany.
I see.
Because that time they required huge number of people for
industrializing fast.
That time.
I see.
The infrastructure, their labor and all these things. Many of them have not been given the citizenship. That is a separate issue.
Okay.
So that is why. So the situation is very volatile, if you ask me. If by chance LePen wins, that will be the last straw on the camel's back. Europe will go. There is no way in which. If by chance Turkey gets more, aggressive, and Erdogan, wins the poll, because he is trying to impose a much stricter regime, more dictatorial and other things. So that could have a spin-off effect.
Well, actually, Turkey was the moderate face of Islam for the longest time. Right?
Very, very long time.
Right?
See, before Turkey, Iran was the most moderate.
Correct.
Iraq was also moderate.
And we Americans went and messed it up.
Not, why have this? You see, if that Saddam Hussein was a dictator, what's your problem? Let him be a dictator. So they went and totally, you see, if you look at the photographs of the 60s and the 50s, Iraq and Iran, you won't believe. Music, dance, and practically no burqa wearing women and other thing on the roads. It was all, sort of very lovable places actually, with lot of, what you call art, architecture, everything. from that point of view, actually, India is more nearer to Iran, civilizationally,
That's right.
and Iraq also.
Right.
Not with Saudi Arabia.
Right.
Because some of these countries don't have any, what you may loosely call the art, culture, music and other things. These countries have. Unfortunately, due to American intervention and other, these countries became, the Shah was thrown out and then the rest is history. So this is something. Turkey is, a good portion of Turkey actually is Europeanized. It wants to join with Europe. But Europe has always resisted it. This is the, if you ask me, it's a foolish thing on the part of Europe. They should have taken Turkey long time before and properly, integrated with Europe. Anyhow, much water has flown down the river Danube or Thames or whatever you call it. So Turkey is not, by chance, if Turkey becomes Islamic in the sense of the term, I think that will unravel the whole situation in Europe. Because kindly note, it's an underbelly of Europe. It's actually the link between the Asia and Europe. And it's a very big country.
It's not Istanbul spans both continents.
Correct.
Right?
Very correct. It's in both countries. And it's a very big country. It's not some, like your UAE or anything like that. Turkey is under good population also. And so this is and actually I would say between now and 2018, we are into extraordinary situations. Coupled with the day before yesterday's attack in London, which has shaken the whole system in UK. Because even though they say we expected this and that, but I don't think they were, because the report suggests the members of parliament has to crawl on their hands and legs, knees, to get out of the parliament actually.
Wow.
It was a very, very serious thing. And this lady I thought was MI16, I do not know, Theresa May. But anyhow, she also has to be bundled out. UK is in equal turmoil.
What is the percentage of population of Muslims in the United Kingdom?
Actually, if you ask me, nobody knows. It could be anywhere between 8 to 10%.
That's a very high number because...
but France is much higher. France could be 15-16%.
I see. Because Indian origin people is only 2%.
Yeah. That is very small. But
1 million,
you see, quite a lot have come from other places. Caribbean, some of them are of Islamic.
Right.
So quite a number of...
This is what you get if you colonize the whole world. You're going to have people from every country. Come on now.
Correct.
You've robbed them for hundreds of years.
It is like telling that somebody light-heartedly wrote that every person has got some link of genes with Genghis Khan, because the way he went around the world and colonized, not only colonized and treated the women and other thing. He seems to have sown his oats everywhere. So it is something like that. Obviously, if you colonize so many countries, and another thing, Britain has also been extremely foolish, I would say, in encouraging lot of small terror groups to settle down in London.
LTT, for instance.
LTT and even Khalistanis. So many groups were encouraged. And finally what happened? If you can have any number of serpents at your home, but ultimately you may be bitten by one of them and you die. One who uses swords permanently is finally, that's what is happening in Britain. And the average Britisher, again what you call the lowest common denominator as they are called, who are not highly educated, but they are very, very upset about all these things. The rural Britain, the less educated, school finishing British people, they are the ones who went and massively supported Brexit. They say enough of all these things. Let's protect our sovereignty. So what took place around 1546, if I remember the year correctly, in terms of Westphalian consensus, after that so-called 100-year war. And it was not a 100-year war. Anyhow, they claimed it is a 100-year war. It's all right. We will accept it. They were weak in mathematics or whatever it is. So, Westphalia, small place, they assembled all of them and decided that we must respect sovereignty. Global. Every country must have its own sovereignty respect. That was the starting point of this whole idea of separate countries in Europe and other. Much later in 1990s, the European Union was again talked about. Otherwise, so very interestingly today, the global corporations don't respect sovereignty. They make profit in one country and show it in another country and don't want to pay taxes.
Right.
US is very angry with them. I think you are aware of it.
Right.
The Apple, Microsoft, Amazon.
Everything you buy in US right now is doing that. Right.
They don't pay any taxes
Right. It's
in
more the
US.
rule than the exception.
And they are so much upset about it. US,
Right.
not just IRS, Justice Department also.
Right.
They are going against all these companies.
Right.
Why are you showing profits in Virgin Island or Cayman Island and other things?
I have to tell you a story about this.
Oh.
Starbucks has been completely boycotted in United Kingdom. There are very few Starbucks stores.
Correct.
And evidently, 2 years ago, there was a story that ran saying that Starbucks repatriates most of its profits out of UK and does
Yeah.
not pay any taxes there.
Very correct.
And the people said, okay, this is how we are going to
Yeah.
punish them.
Correct.
And I could only find Starbucks in the airport.
Yeah, in the Heathrow Airport.
Yes.
Correct. Not inside.
Yeah. So I was really surprised. I mean,
Yeah.
and if then they probably don't know about Amazon and Apple. I mean, the same.
No, many of them. See, there are two groups today working in the world. One is this large corporation,
Right.
which are using this tax havens and then not respecting sovereignty. Other is the jihadi groups. They also don't respect sovereignty. See, he may come from Sudan.
Right.
He may accumulate arms in Yemen. He may collect some money from Pakistan. He may go and attack in UK or France.
Right, right.
They also don't bother about this idea of sovereignty. These are the two groups which are totally. Now the lowest common denominator, as they are called, the ordinary people in France, in Netherlands, in Germany, they are fed up of this. They want to go back to Westphalian consensus. This is our country. We will have our laws, and these refugees we will not encourage anymore. And this Hungarian Prime Minister was very clear. Our entire value system, our entire culture has been swamped.
Right.
We are not going to encourage that. And whatever said and done, the European culture and the Islamic culture are not easily compatible.
That's right. That's right.
So it's they go on telling it's a salad and salad. Salad you may have cabbage and a carrot and a cucumber, and but if one carrot is spoiled or one cucumber is bad, the whole salad become bad, right?
Right,
It's
right,
not a,
right.
it's not like a kutu we call it in Tamil. It's not like something cooked one, avial type of thing. And in India, we don't have that salad idea actually, because in some way or other, all the other cultures, Parsi culture, Islamic culture, Christian culture have been slowly absorbed over a long period of time. Now again these attempts are being made to make it salad. The salad system will not work. According to me, everybody nowadays slowly accept there has to be a dominant culture. Others have to work with that. It's not antagonistic or anything, but you have to recognize that there is a dominant culture. This is what LePen is arguing. Our culture, French culture, is the dominant culture. So you have to...
So she's trying to define the identity of France
Yes.
as being a Christian democracy.
Correct.
And that doesn't matter what other religion
Yeah.
you profess at home, your
Yeah.
identity still remains there.
Very correct.
And unless you are prepared to accept that identity, then you don't belong here.
Very
This
correct.
is not being said.
And they are actually, French is relatively much more secular. In the sense, for instance, exhibiting any of the religious symbols in public, they are not happy about it. But French is at the same time small towns, very small areas. French is not Paris. Even though everybody thinks France is Paris, there are huge number of small towns.
Right.
They want to protect their culture, their art,
Right.
music.
Right.
For instance, that's one of the reasons why Walmart could not succeed there. Because they felt that our town, our town halls, our local kirana shops are all getting affected
Right.
because of this invasion. So
Right,
they
right.
imposed all sorts of funny condition and threw them out in a sense. In the sense they told you cannot have more than not
commercially
easy.
unviable.
Unviable, correct. So this same thing in Germany also is happening. Lot of small town Germans are very unhappy about what is happening. Again, not in Berlin, not in Stuttgart or Switzerland
Or Munich.
Munich. No, Because what happened is most of this mainstream media goes to these places,
Right, right.
interviews people and talks to them.
And then decides that this
They
is
said
what
that
country
this
is
is
doing.
recently one person has written an email to me, sir. I saw one interview in NDTV where the expert was telling you is the future. I think the expert doesn't know what he is talking about. He says you should invest in EU because that is the future. I don't know what these experts are doing because they all visit these, if you had just visited Delhi and Bombay, you would never know that Yogi Adityanath is so popular in UP.
That's right.
That's what is happening in Europe. Exactly. There is what I would call, there is an assertion by the average that we are losing our culture, we are losing our values, we have lost our jobs, we are losing our land. All these concerns are coming up. I think it should, maybe by 2018 middle, I think this cauldron has to settle one way or the other.
So all the currencies will revert back to their older things.
Yeah, that
Francs
should.
and francs.
Even today, French mark, German Deutschmark is any day much more powerful than the so-called EU and other thing.
Right.
This euro currency and other thing.
Right.
Right? It will happen.
Okay, thank you very much, Professor.